it's really fun watching both of them just kind of chew the scenery. You get a little more insight into Bester, which is neat. Um, and Talia is always a character that I remember, as your listeners may know, I am very new to Babylon 5.
Hmm.
It's been on my to watch list for a minute, and I finally got through all of it last year. And so I've only seen this episode once, prior to watching it again for this
Mm.
recording. And so I had forgotten how much I had actually forgotten because I
Mm.
watched everything in quick succession. I was like, oh yeah, we get this the hints. We find out that Bester's married and has a kid, and like um how Talia joined the Psi Corps, and so you get like all these little bits and pieces, and then that kind of sets up what we find out, like kind of the dark side of that, from the folks in the Underground Railroad at the end of
Mm.
the episode. I thought that really is like, oh, the Psi Corps did this for me and blah blah blah, but the Psi Corps also did this to me, and I'm like, ooh, that's scary.
Mm.
So.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. They're both kind of like they're keeping the barriers up. Obviously, we find out later the reason Talia's doing this
Mhm.
because of what happened with Ironheart, and it's one thing. Before it doesn't really acknowledge the gifts that Ironheart gave her between Mind
Mhm.
War and this, but they do obviously come back to it here, and we'll talk more about it later on because that's obviously set up for the Talia storyline that kind of gets replaced by Alita and that chapter later
Mhm.
on. But it's really interesting to sort of see kind of the awkwardness around there as well, and the idea he
Mhm.
wants to is that what I noticed really, and I think it's amplified by that scene when she kind of covers up her robe. Is almost a creepiness in Bester, like I want to get to know you better, and then particularly
Mhm.
when you hear about how people are treated later on, that kind of almost takes a number of different facets as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think you really get a sense of who Bester is in that scene after Talia is captured. We've also already mentioned Ivanova's fantastic multiple choice line, but what do you think, Luke, of the way Bester talks to the command staff and how the impact of what's happened with the attack at breakfast been all about him?
Yeah, Bester only has concern for himself and the Corps. That's
Mm.
literally him. Talia's nothing more than another pawn in the game. She's just another agent.
Mm.
Um, and you really get a sense, Bester is narcissistic, he's egotistical, he's power
Mm.
hungry, his only concern is for himself. You really get a sense of his ethic and morals, or lack thereof of
Mm.
ethics and morals.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, and I love Garibaldi's reaction, just the outrage that
Yeah.
just like Talia is a person, she's a friend, and she could be dead. She's been taken and kidnapped, and you're sitting there worried about your organization.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a great scene, and you really learn a lot about Bester in
Mm.
this episode and in this scene as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Talia is nothing because she is nothing. She knows nothing that could hurt him or the Corps. That's what she means ultimately. So yeah, it's a kind of very believable, but obviously very, but kind of disturbing look at kind of Bester and that narcissism, that world revolves around him, certainly.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, we also get that absolute talking of Garibaldi, we get that terrific scene with Garibaldi and Bester as well, when Bester opens up the fact that he has a wife and child. And I particularly love Garibaldi's slow clap as well. That was fantastic. What do you think of that, Ashley?
Oh, it's great. It's great. You're like Garibaldi just brings the sass. Like,
Mm.
he's very much like I'm a by the books kind of guy, but he's also kind of like salt of the earth and says what he
Mm.
thinks. And I
Mm.
and I really like that about his character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a great building block of this rivalry that will grow and
Mm.
grow between Garibaldi and Bester, right up to the
Mhm.
point where he's basically programmed to betray Sheridan. So I love these little scenes with these two because it's just delicious. It's
It is.
tasty. It's great
It
stuff.
really is. It really is. And yeah, knowing where we're going to go come season 4 and 5, I guess 5 as well. It takes it. It goes from kind of fun two coast balance of to being something a little bit more dark as well when you realize that kind of rivalry will build into the kind of basically utter destruction of Garibaldi's character in the fourth
Mm.
season as well. Yeah, so that's what's great about things on rewatch is kind of seeing that and kind of knowing where that's going to.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that because I love Garibaldi as a
Mm.
character, and I hate
Mm.
his character basically destroyed. It's a
Yeah.
horrible watch, but it's also a great
Mm.
watch at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.